Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into my very first YouTube video. My name is Marlena and I make cake toppers. So what I wanted to do today, today's video is going to be dedicated to all of the tools that I use to make my cake toppers. I make a lot of different things. I make animals, I make, people, I make, bows, anything you can think of, I've probably made it. And so there are some tools that I use more than others, and there are some tools that I absolutely cannot even do a figure without. Like I need these tools. And when I first started out, there were a lot of things that I didn't know I was going to need, or, it was a lot of trial by error. So today, before I start making instructional tutorials on my animals and stuff, I just wanted to make a video that shows you the tools that you can acquire, or that, if you plan on doing this, more full time, that you can invest in, that are going to make your fondant journey a lot more productive, and a lot easier. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. So the first tool that I use most often, and oh my God, please don't mind my hands. As you can tell, I work with food dye every day. There are ways to, remediate this or to prevent this from happening. I know a lot of people use gloves, but I do this every day. So I just feel like I would be doing the environment such a disservice by using gloves every time I make fondant. So I just take the hit and I walk around with ugly hands, but okay. Anyways, enough about that. So the first tool that I use all the time is going to be this. So this is a small roller. I know they have huge ones, but this is a small roller. It's perfect for desktop size when you're just rolling out, smaller pieces of fondant. And since most of the time the figures that you use or that you make are going to be, 3 inches, 4 inches. So this is a totally appropriate size roller. So this is very, very valuable to have. The second most used tool that I have is going to be what you might hear referred to as the Dresden tool. The Dresden tool is really just this little guy here. It's got kind of this hook on one end, and then on this side, if you could see, it's kind of like this little flat paddle. Now we use these a lot of times for mouths. Like you can, I'll just kind of demonstrate. You could pull it down, and then, you can make your smile lines there. I use these for mouths. I use them for to depress the fondant in if I'm going to be putting like a horn there for a dinosaur or something like that. I use this every single time. I love this tool. It's totally multifunctional and very useful. The second one is this guy here. The other end broke off, so I don't even remember what it was. But luckily, it wasn't this side, because this is the side I use. So this is going to be for I use this for smile lines, make cute little smiles just like that. Very, very good for unicorns, little kid faces, things like that. The next one is going to be, I use this one. I don't use this one as much, but I like to have it. It's just cool to have on hand. So this is kind of for plastic, it's a pretty sharp little blade. And then there's like this little scalloped thing, which you can kind of, create some lines, some patterns like so. And then this thing is actually pretty sharp, so you can slice through. As you can see, it'll make a nice little slice there. Next are going to be my straight blades. Now these are Sculpey straight blades. I have a couple of them because one of them I like to keep very, very straight. So I don't bend these, even though it is a bendable blade. But I like this to be the one that I use for when I need a very, very straight line. I keep a couple that I use for when I need to bend, when I cut in any kind of shape. So I have my bendy ones and I have my straight ones. I can't even describe how wonderful these are. So when you're making figures, just move these over, or when you're making, when you're making anything, when you're rolling stuff out, especially like when I do cupcake toppers and things like that, sometimes, your fondant can get a little bit sticky. I know a lot of people use like cornstarch or powdered sugar. I don't particularly use that. But you can run the blade underneath to pick up your fondant, and it just makes it a lot easier. So I really like these, and you just got to be kind of careful with them because they are super sharp, but they're wonderful to have. Next is going to be my X-Acto knife. Pretty self-explanatory. You use these for a lot of different things. Very good to have. The next is going to be ball tools. So these I mean, these are great to have. In particular, this one, this is what I do eyeballs with. So as you can see, these have the smaller ones. So for a lot of dinosaurs, like my T-Rex, you know, I make the nose holes, or I do the eyeballs, and it just helps you get, you know, perfectly even circles that you're going to go ahead and put your little black dots into that make eyeballs. And then these ones, these two, they come in a variety of sizes. I actually found these in, I mean, you can find them in the clay section. Actually, you can find a lot of things in the clay section for fondant modeling. But like this one, I think was these ones, they were in the nail art section in Amazon. So I think they're called like nail daughters. I don't know, but they're wonderful to have. And then these guys, all of these with the yellow and the white, they come in a huge pack, and you can get them on Amazon for like $10, and it has just a whole bunch of them. Next is going to be these three guys. These are Wilton. They come in a 3-pack. You've probably seen it at Michael's. I mean, this is pretty repetitive to the other ones. This we use for to make different types of stitching. Let's see. So you've got, like, if you're going to do a teddy bear with the stitching, or like they've even got this bigger one, which you can use for like purses or stitching on larger things. So yeah, this is a pretty cool tool. I also use this to, I use this tip, this smaller one. Sometimes I'll just run it back and forth if I need texture, like on a tire or for sand, or, you know, something, and you can run it back and forth. So there's different ways to use it, not just for stitching. This is my favorite tool out of this set. This one, it's like almost like a needle. It's just wonderful to have. This one, very cool. A lot of times when you're lining something up and you'll have like these little edges on the fondant, if you just use this one to push, it's very precise, and you can push down and just kind of clean up your edges on things. And I like that. I think any little pieces of fondant sticking out, making things ragged, just really bother me. So I really like this tool. Okay, so next, so this one, I think this is a Sculpey tool. I think this was from Michael's. It's just a kind of wider, flatter. It's not really a blade, but again, these, and then this tip right here also you can do mouths and ears and just different shapes. And then this one is also just good for, you know, pushing things into place and sculpting. So good to have. More sculptors. Now these are Cake Duchess tools, and these things are so heavy. I mean, these things are the real deal. If you've never heard of the Cake Duchess, she makes absolutely adorable animals and figures. Just so cool. And she developed her own line of products, and these are her products. So I've never worked with any tools this durable and this hefty, and I mean, these things are great. I actually do end up using this one a lot. This is actually pretty sharp, and then you just got a variety of different tips, and yeah, these things are really cool. So you know, if you have time, check her out. You can follow her on Instagram. She's got some great tutorials and some great you know, kind of hyperlapsed videos where she makes really cute figures. So next, I like to always have a black food pen with me. You know, I use this for eyebrows, or just sometimes details, depending on what it is that I'm making. But always have backups of these, because if you're in a crunch and you're making something and you don't have black ink, edible black ink, it could just be a disaster. So trust me, this is something you don't want to run out of, because it is not something that you can just jump in the car and get, especially if you're not close to a Michael's, or if your Michael's closes at 8 p.m. like mine does. Okay, and the next thing is water. I always keep a little cup of water, and I usually have a brush. You can also, because let me back up. So I don't use edible glue for my figures. I actually just use water. I prefer it. It's less messy, less hassle. So I just use a little cup of water, always use clean water. And I also have this water pen. You just fill it with water, and it's pretty cool. You just, as you push, and the water comes out as you brush and you squeeze, and that makes things pretty easy. The only thing is I forget to fill it up a lot. But anyways, yeah, these are pretty cool. And I got these on Amazon too, and it actually came in like a 4-pack with different size brushes. So I'll drop the links below of everything that I'm using. The next are going to be cutters. I use these stainless steel biscuit cutters. The one that I probably use the most is going to be the 2 1/4 inch. This is what I use for my cupcake toppers, for my standard cupcake toppers. Wonderful to have. I've bought one set and I've had the same set the whole time. I clean them regularly and they've lasted years. I've never had a problem with them. Never had anything. Never. They're just great. They're just reliable and durable and very useful. You will use these a lot, I promise. I do also keep a lot of different smaller circle cutters. I mean, you never know. We always need circles when we're making figures. I don't know why, but we do. And then the last thing is going to be extruders. So these are actually clay extruders, and I prefer the push down extruders. Now this was my absolute favorite extruder, and as you can see, it broke, and I tried to tape it, bless my heart, and it's just it's gone. It's just gone. And I'm really sad because I cannot find it. But this one was my favorite. The fondant didn't stick to it. And it also came with they come with the little, these little guys that you stick in that allow you to do different shapes. And these are the ones that you see all over Amazon. You can get these, and then the ones that you wind, you can get those all over Amazon. But they don't come with a plate that is a very specific size of circle that allows me to make rainbows, the rainbows that I make and sell. So I'm a little heartbroken because making rainbows by hand, I mean, yes, you can roll every one, but it's just to get them all to look perfect and uniform, it's a bit of a hassle. But that being said, these extruders are really handy. This one that you get, it's a screw, you screw it off. And the only thing I don't like is the fondant is kind of sticky for it. And it's kind of hard. As you can see, it's actually not even pulling up right now for me. So that's cool. But yeah, this one, it's not my favorite, guys. I'm going to have to be honest, but it is the one that you can get the most often. And it's definitely a workaround. If you can find this plastic version anywhere, and if you know where to get it, please drop a comment and let me know. It is my favorite, and it will be missed until it's replaced. Okay, and then actually that wasn't the last thing. This is the last thing. The last thing is Gumtex Tylose powder. So this is just my secret weapon, I think. I did not know about this when I first started making fondant figures, and it actually would take me a really, really long time to dry my figures out. Like, I would let them just dry normally, right? And it just takes forever. And especially because I ship my toppers, you know, I want them to be hard. I want them to be firm. And production time is held up by the drying time, you know? So this, accompanied by a very amazing, useful trick that I picked up, which is to bake your fondant, which also accelerates drying time. This has been a godsend. So Tylose powder, it's just a very, very thin, it's just a very fine, not thin, I'm sorry. It's a very fine powder. You add it in a very small amount. A little goes a long way with Tylose. It is a gum powder. So it is essentially the same component that is in gum paste. And as we know, gum paste is a lot harder and a lot firmer. So what Tylose does is it goes in and does pretty much the same thing. It makes things very firm and allows you to have a really sturdy figure. And that, I mean, that's priceless when you're pumping out a lot of fondant figures and you really just need to, it's go time. So again, a little goes a long way. I don't measure it. I kind of just like freestyle. I put it in, until I feel it firming up. I knead it in, and you can actually feel your fondant start to have more of a give and start to be less tacky. And that's when I'll kind of ease back. But yeah, it's a game changer, I'm telling you. This is, so Gumtex is they actually added the Tylose part. So Gumtex is just Wilton's brand of Tylose, and Tylose is just is a brand name for CMC powder. So CMC powder and Tylose, it will work the same way. So if you can get your hand on CMC powder, or if you can get your hands on Tylose or Gumtex, whichever one, it's gonna render pretty similar results. So yeah, these are actually really good for making bows too. If you're going to be making like Minnie Mouse bows and ears and all that, this is the way that you want to go. And then again, that tip about baking your fondant, totally useful. So and I know a lot of people say that you don't even have to necessarily bake it, that you can just put your oven light on, and then put your toppers in the oven for a few minutes, and it'll, or not a few minutes, but for like some people say overnight, and it'll dry it out. But to me, that's kind of taking the same amount of time as waiting overnight, and I'm trying to like make these figures, wrap them up, and I ship the same day, to be honest. So yeah. That's my spiel for today. Thank you everybody for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, drop them down below, and hopefully I see you again when I make my first tutorial for one of my animals, and you will know everything I'm using, and we'll be good to go. Okay, thanks so much.